Due to technical difficulties, we are starting this session without our normal setup. But we return to Orlando Ascended. We return to the tensions of one particular mage at a bar getting ready for a performance. This bar is a place where a lot of low-lives performers, comedians, singers start their route of the mill, so to speak. And tonight we have an interesting performance that will be taking place. Tell us, Jared, what is the theme of this bar?
Well, I'm gonna be up there in a cocktail dress doing some singing.
Mm-hmm.
Actually gonna be looking for some songs, but
Mm-hmm.
started talking to other people while waiting for you to get back online.
Mm-hmm. So,
Um,
what you can see, there's a decent little amount of crowd here tonight. And as you're getting ready to perform, this place, it means a little bit to you.
well, it is my
Because
father's bar.
not only that, but something important happened to you here.
It's where I awakened.
Exactly. Something where uh, you changed here. This is a meaningful place to you. When you start to do your performance, you warm up, and it's a fairly packed house tonight. Go ahead and roll me, uh, fellow ST. Would you give me a hand here? What would be the singing roles? I know performance would probably be in that, but what would be an actual
Generally, it is charisma performance.
charisma performance? Okay, Jared.
And would enchanting voice play into that?
It lowers the difficulty by 2, making it diff 4.
Nice. So you said charisma and what?
Performance.
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 Only if you have a specialty in singing. If you do not have the singing specialty, you cannot use your performance dice.
So it's just straight charisma?
Hmm.
Yep.
Although I believe you had a specialty in performance, didn't you?
No, I
You
only have a specialty in crafts for tailoring.
That's right. Okay, you went with a different one. That's okay. So go ahead and roll me your charisma diff 4.
Just 3. It's like I'm rolling my Arte.
Do you wish to increase your charisma?
I mean, I don't have any points to do it at the moment.
Yep. All right. So go ahead and roll
Hold on one moment. For some odd reason, things not working.
it. The technocracy has disabled your ability to roll dice. You have lost the game already. No.
No, it's just for some odd reason the delete button on my keyboard was not working properly. Or if one. I got
One.
one success.
Right. So it's a bit nervous for you. This is your first time up since your awakening. It's been a change in your life. And at first you start to go and it's enough. I mean, you get a like this is mundane routine to you. So you get, a little bit warmed up. It's not your best performance. It's a little bit low brow, but you're starting to get back into the rhythm of things. And then you slowly start to pick up the pace and you do your performance. And roll me your Arite roll difficulty 4.
Lovely. I
Two
got the
hits.
2.
After a moment that you start to sing, you start to feel the energy of your avatar build. And you haven't communicated much with your avatar. You are very recently awakened. But through the teachings that Hannah has taught you, you start to expand your senses, expands throughout the bar, smell, sight, hearing, and all of your spheres become shown to you, the ones you have. Hannah has taught you to
Oh,
block out most of the mind, so it doesn't tend to bother you that you start to hear a lot of voices around you. You just continue on with what you're doing.
but all that life that's around me.
It's not blinding
It's like a life 3.
because much like stepping out into a stadium with hundreds of people, you've learned how to kind of filter it out. Hannah has taught you the bare
Yeah.
basics to not corrupt your mind to blow up the first, time you use your all sight. But it's a better experience, and you kind of pick up the pace and you start to sing better. It's at this point that you notice a figure standing off to your right, up on stage with you. A very beautiful woman in a dark blue dress with very sharp looking obsidian horns and bat like wings protruding from her back. And she just stands there and looks at you as you're performing.
Well, I believe I would continue to sing.
All right, you continue to sing, and you hear a whisper in your ear. It says, "Once we hit our lowest, we can pull ourselves up from anything. Try it now." And you feel something kind of almost reach through you as you're performing. This time, roll me your charisma plus a performance that you didn't know you had, so it will be 2. So your charisma plus 2 at difficulty 3.
Ooh, and it made it easier. So I'm rolling a total of 5 dice.
At difficulty 3.
Sweet.
Very nice.
I got 4 successes.
That's very good. You pause. And then you pick yourself up even more. And then your performance exceeds all expectations. You give a performance that you have never given this good before. And you can see the woman starting to kind of, nod her head and kind of almost dance to the rhythm of what you sing. And she then starts to dance off to the side as you perform. And as you come to the opening finish, you see her kind of reach her hand up towards you. And then a flourish of warmth and almost static electricity rockets throughout your whole body as you finish the last chorus. And there's silence for a brief couple seconds. And then everyone in the bar stands up and applauds. Very graciously and very excitedly.
All right, now Kara is very hyper due to the sensation coursing through her right now.
And as you feel your sensation increase like this, you feel your mind's eye focus. And all of these senses and everything around you that you're looking at now with the all sight that is still open becomes enhancedly focused. It's almost like you have hit that adrenaline high or the perfect point that a martial artist, hope to reach. And everything is almost somewhat slowed down, so to speak, but not quite. And you are at almost a heightened sense of awareness more than you've ever known.
Well, Kara will thank the crowd for having her, and then she's gonna step off stage and go to the bar and ask her father for a drink.
Ready? He says, "You were amazing, hon. Way to go."
Yeah, wasn't too sure up there for a moment.
I gotta say, I think that's the best performance you've ever done.
It sure felt amazing.
Says, well done, and he says, hands you a rather nice looking, your typical order. And as you
I'll
drink
just
it,
like slowly sip on it, trying to calm down.
you eventually calm and the vision fades, your sight closes. Eventually, everything kind of comes full circle. And then a familiar face sits down next to you and says, hey, sweetie.
Say again.
She says, hey, sweetie.
Hello there, Hannah.
He pauses for a moment. Go ahead, child.
Oh, just still trying to process what just happened.
Indeed, you're not used to this yet. You will be.
Certainly not used to getting help from someone else either.
Indeed. That was the hardest part for me, too.
Definitely wasn't expecting my avatar to manifest like that.
Avatars are strange things. They sometimes manifest exactly as we expect, and other times they manifest as something that we would never have thought related to us. But in the end, they are one of the ultimate keys to reaching true enlightenment, so to speak.
Well, I'm curious how I'm gonna reach enlightenment with my avatar.
Well, that's why I've taken you on. I will guide you in this path. If you'll have me. I know our teachings have been somewhat frustrating, but it seems that you are finally learning, and if you want a mentor, I will be it.
Well, it would be more helpful to have someone dedicated to showing me the ropes.
Believe me, your education will be mine as well.
First time with a student?
I had one before. They did well, and they moved on. But it's been a long time since I've had another.
Well, then what's next for us?
Oh, if you're, after you finish your drink here, we can go back to my place and I can start to teach you the bare basics of things, and I can give you some warnings. Those gentlemen that and the other lady that I introduced you today, we we at the I hate using this terminology, but head mages, so to speak. We decided to put together to this little cohort, if you will, of mages, and you will perform tasks that we need of you throughout the city, and it will be part of your training and merging into higher ups in this society, so to speak. And the ones I introduced you today may be able to help you in more ways than you might think.
Hmm, I'll take your word for it, but I'm not so sure about the the girl.
Uh, if she appears different, then that is often because of her tradition. You see, we are the cult, or at least I am currently a member. If you wish to join our sect, that is good. If you wish to use our foci, that is up to you. If you wish to take on our philosophies, that is up to you. But we are known, and she'll, after you leave the bar, she'll walk with you for a bit, and she says,
Mm-hmm.
"We are the cult of ecstasy. We are the pleasure and out of mind and out of body experience manifested into mages. We have
Oh,
philosophies that don't always match the other traditions, but we are still, I guess the best word to describe it is one of the originals, so to speak. Our brothers and sisters in the adepts and the sons and daughters of Ether, they were not always traditional like we are now. They broke from what is known as the Technocratic Union. What you have to understand here is that this magic that we do, have you ever noticed that people just accept things the way they are? When someone comes up to
oh,
another, they can say, "Well, why does that work?" And someone can say, "Science." That is because the paradigm of this reality, the tapestry, has been set to a specific paradigm. Paradigm is the belief of how magic works in all reality. And on this plane, because of the technocratic unions and because of how the ordinary humans have decided to continue in their ways, there are very specific things and rules that must be followed. For example, my dear, I know I've told you this already, but spoilers, so to speak. Science is magic. Science is merely the explanation and the divination that the Technocratic Union has devised as the primary paradigm of magic. That is all science is. We of the Cult of Ecstasy, the Verbena, the Akashic Brotherhood, the others, we try to do things in the more traditional way, although we've had to adapt a lot of our ways to accommodate for the paradigm and not suffer the cruelty of paradox, which, of course, as you know, I've told you, is the reality coming back on us when we do something we should not be allowed to do according to the belief of paradigm. The virtual adepts and the etherites, they're different, but they are us now.
okay.
One must simply have to be careful that they are not crossing over another's paradigm, so to speak.
This is a lot to have all at once.
Indeed. And she takes you back to her spa place, and she offers you, if you want to go and soak in the spa, she'll give you a towel and go let you kind of calm and relax and get your mind together.
I will do so.
When you do so, your mind clears more so than any spa you've ever been in. Any relaxing moment, any feeling of pleasure, it just seems to be thrown out, and true, I want to describe it almost as the ecstasy of relaxation is just
Just
washed over
this
you.
ultimate relax.
Yes.
Total reset.
Hmm. You are alone in the hot tub for a while, and after a moment, she comes by again after you're done,
Mm-hmm.
and she says, "Very well, then let the first lessons begin here." And she says, and she starts, of course, going over all the stuff with you and all the bare basics. And she'll have you practice a mind shield. So go ahead and roll your Arite at diff 3 since you're in her sanctum. And of course, because she's Cult of Ecstasy, she will teach you how to do things using herbs, feelings of pleasure, music, anything that uh, stimulates you, so to speak.
So, stimulates how?
The Cult of Ecstasy is almost a very emotional uh, form of magic. They a lot of their foci um, and ways they cast magic are done with dancing, herbs, music, things that make you feel good. Sometimes they do meditation, um, working out, getting the workout high, sex, um, and a few other things that I'll need to read up on. But
Would
that's a majority of what they kind of are.
would any type of sexual pleasure do?
As in,
Kara kind of puts a finger in her hair and starts to twirl it around and just go, well, I I like rope play.
oh, in other words, foreplay. Yeah, that's actually stated in the book that yeah, there's that can potentially be used in rituals and certain casting. Yeah, that's something they do. That is something the Cult of Ecstasy does.
Specifically being bound, wearing harnesses.
If it triggers that kind of emotion in you, then yes, it can be used as a foci or means of casting.
Alrighty. Well, that'll be easy enough to do.
And so you go about the night learning about the different foci you can kind of use. And you can go through the out of character. You can go through the book and look at some foci you use. You don't have to use every single, thing that the Cult of Ecstasy does. I mean, it is your mage. It's a unique character. Everyone has their
It's
own.
however
Yeah, it's everyone
she
has their
focused.
own thing, but you can think about what kind of foci or rituals you kind of like to do for certain magic that you do, and what you do for the mind sphere, what you would do for the life sphere, what you'd use for that sphere. For example, my old mage character, he was a cop. His badge represented the mind
Hmm.
because that's what he used to talk with everyone, and that was his appearance. And his watch, because he was an orphan, his watch was his foci
Hmm.
for time. So things like that.
Interesting.
And she goes about the rest of the night, kind of telling you stuff, and a few awkward moments of you hanging there in an interesting position, and then realizing that yes, when you stimulate yourself in different ways, your foci, so to speak, comes out, and it becomes easier to cast when doing this. She also informs you that you can, in fact, cast this without doing anything. You can cast without word, you can cast without action, without even certain aspects of foci. It just will be more difficult. Also,
Alrighty.
she points out the use of quintessence, and she points out to you the use of taking your time with magic can also give you an easier time.
Alrighty. Sorry, something didn't save on my
No worries.
sheet,
So
so I'm
after a
having.
while, you kind of start to get the hang of things, and it's overall it becomes a very educational night for you. And you think that yeah, this mage stuff is actually not so scary after all. But she does explain paradox to you, and that's the only part of this whole thing that really gets scary. And that is basically she explains it as reality crushing back on you when you sees you do something you're not supposed to. And she teaches you about coincidence and to always have an excuse as to why something works, or oh, it was just the wind, or oh, it was this, things in that, so to speak. And as the night continues, we fade from that scene, and the last thing she says to you, Jared, is she says, "I'll definitely have to set you up in one of the training rooms. You're already making quite a bit of leeway and progress. Well done." And as you
Oh,
go and walk on and she continues to train you, you see just very faintly in the back of the area the beautiful woman in the red dress looking at you
I
approvingly.
thought it was blue.
It's red now.
Oh wow.
And she looks at you approvingly. And yeah, you've noticed that you've seen her a couple times, and her dress has changed colors about 3 times on you now. First she was blue, then she was red, and then she was. Now she's more of a. As you look at her again, now her dress is
Hmm.
more the color of your hair.
So blue green.
Mm-hmm. And we will have the scene fade to black. Now our attention diverts us to another mage in the city, Dahlia.
Who is probably still hanging out with Matthias.
Mm-hmm.
Getting the sexy on.
After the discussion, it was a lot to take in. There was a lot of things happening in Orlando that definitely deserve some attention and probably could be very bad if it's not looked into. But you've known that you apparently have a decent amount of allies near you at this point, and you decide to have a little bit of spend more time with Matthias. He's an interesting kind of a fellow. He also proves to be very bombastic at random moments, but perhaps that's just the Fae's heritage. That is a trait of a lot of Fae. And tell me, would you want to just go for a like just anywhere with him, or would you want to go back to the coffee place and just chat? Where would you want to be, or would you want to go and find books?
She would be up for pretty much anything. Going to get coffee or, well, tea for her. She didn't drink coffee.
Mm-hmm. So I'll go ahead and say that you go back to the little tea place, little place on the side of the library, and you proceed onward, and you find a few books and you check out some things out. This library is actually quite vast, and he talks with you a little bit about you know he's been in Orlando for quite some time, and when he says quite some time, he kind of implies that he's been here a lot longer than maybe a human could possibly be. But he says, so as the conversation goes on, he eventually comes forward and starts to ask this question. He says, "So I must ask, Dahlia, don't take this the wrong way, but why is it that you give off such an aura of comfortability to me?"
It's the resonance that comes with my magic. It's warm, comforting. I've had several people bring that up to me.
I see. He kind of looks down and he says, I know that you've been in the city for some time, and I must admit I've seen you around, and I apologize for not introducing myself earlier. I just, well, it's difficult for some of us, whether we are a mage, fae, werewolf, who knows what anyone is anymore, but it's difficult for some of us who wish to come out and learn and make a difference in this ever-changing world of darkness that we are in. But sometimes when we wish to come out and talk or do anything with anything that is not of us, it is looked at with hostility.
I've certainly seen that, though it doesn't seem to happen as much here, I don't think.
No, indeed, there are some places that it's a lot easier for the supernatural world to commingle or even simply exist. For example, in Canada, it's very easy. There's almost no conflict up there, except occasionally when the Great Cairn goes nuts. But Everyone usually steers clear of that. Unfortunately, my time started in New York, which, unlike Chicago, is a very difficult place to sometimes get things going. Too much valuables up there, as I've heard.
Well, now you're in Orlando.
Indeed. City of sewer gators.
Now we don't even have sewers.
Chuckles a bit, and he says, well, in the Umbra we do.
I mean,
And I mean no disrespect to the Mokole. But seriously, why are they hiding in there? He looks around a bit.
it's better than septic tanks.
Yeah, he looks around a bit and he's like, I hope there's no Mokole in here. he kind of looks around like
Well, let's hope not.
a cornball and says, yes, let's hope not. Granted, the only Mokole I've ever met was a very nice fellow. But you never know. And as I've heard recently, these killings have put a lot of people on edge recently. There is a truce here in Orlando, but it's between at least some. Some things have chosen to take a truce, other things have not. But it's a fine line. It's a thread, not a ribbon.
Well, I suppose we have to walk that thread then.
I suppose we must. And I am a man who likes to live on the edge, so to speak. Although the thread often feels very light, like it will break under our weight.
Well, we'll just have to be more careful.
Mm-hmm.
Apply less pressure.
Out of character, are you saying that somewhat seductively?
She might be.
Just a curiosity. Okay, would you roll me something here, please?
What would you like me to roll?
He has to roll something as well.
Willpower.
Would you roll me? Yeah, that looks like it's about the right combination. Charisma or appearance plus empathy or expression.
Oof.
Yeah.
Empathy specialty in emotions.
Oh boy, yeah, that'll work. Standard diff 6.
Ooh, ouch. Dice did not like me. Only one success.
I'm reading his sheet here.
Dice gods do not like me today.
So what happens is as you're saying that and you're kind of trying to be a little, suave and a little seductive with him, it looks like he's actually like kind of like, hey, kind of like, yeah. And then it's in combination of both of you. You almost go to like reach out to maybe like just touch his hand or whatever, and he moves at the same time like he was going to go to do the same thing, and you both kind of do that awkward like oops, and you both move at the same time. And when you drink tea, is it cold or hot?
Hot.
You reach forward and the tea slides off and it slides right into his lap. And
oh god.
And he's like oh he kind of turns and he looks and he's like whoa.
She's going to go ahead and use magic to heal that. Just imagine that's going to be a little bit of damage there.
He kind of looks down.
Bot.
He well, if you've ever had hot tea poured on your junk, it doesn't exactly feel too good.
Yeah, we're gonna.
I meant the healing. Does it tingle?
He'll feel it. He'll know what it is. But roll me Arite Div 3.
Now she's gotta continue rolling because that's not enough to kick off the effect.
Okay, extended check coming up.
Yep, that's enough. That's a total of 4 successes. She only needed 3.
Yeah, you heal him very easily, and he obviously does not resist. So this goes by. You kind of wave your hands over, and were you using any foci, or were you just kind of doing your thing?
Yeah, she was using the pentacle. That is her life focus.
You do so, and he looks down and he kind of calms down a little bit. And he's actually like, thank you. Well, that's handy.
Yeah, sorry about that.
I'm sorry myself. That was sorry.
It's a little clumsy of me. Sorry.
No, I was
So
the
adorable.
I was the clumsy one. I apologize. I should have seen that you were moving and decided to, not move.
It happens.
That doesn't sound creepy at all.
He pauses for a moment and he says, I'm glad to be working with you. I think I can trust you and those others and everyone here so far. It's certainly a lot more peaceful than New York.
It's a lot smaller city than New York.
It is. And he you can't see this, but let me see, he's got his glamour up, so actually yeah, everything's gonna be working normal. You see that as he's kind of pausing and stuttering and looking for words, his heart rate increases to a pretty substantial amount.
You nervous about something?
Huh? What? Oh, what do you mean? No, I'm fine.
Your heart's racing.
Roll me another either charisma or appearance plus empathy or expression. 56.
Definitely doing empathy because that dice pool is higher.
That's your shit.
Well, when you have a vampire with auspex, you definitely want that. 3 hits.
3 successes that time.
3 hits.
Better
That's not bad.
better than the last one.
He kind of. Let's see what he does here. He's got this. Right. Okay. So, 2 things happen. The first thing you notice is you have spirit, right?
Yes, she has spirit 3.
Right. You see his emotional patterns flash to sorrow. Very, very great sorrow. But it's only for maybe a couple seconds. And then it stops and it goes to lust and happiness. And he steps forward and he very gently grabs your hand and he turns it palm up. He puts one hand on the bottom, one hand on top. And you feel your hand get just a little bit cold. And as he removes it, if you look down with the sight, and you use your matter, your spirit, and life and whatnot, you don't have forces. But you can tell clearly that he's put some kind of what looks like an origami ice swan in your hand. He says, just a little gift. I feel like introductions are more proper when gifts are exchanged. old traditions, old habits.
She's going to use Matter, and let's see, she has Matter 3, so she can make just about anything. He wears mostly leather, right?
Yeah, pretty much his glamour is set up as the picture says, but it's physical. It's all real. Oh no.
Oh no.
Oh, nothing. My dice
What'd
roller
you do,
crapped out there
bot?
for no. My dice roller crapped out there for a sec. I didn't know what was going on.
Um, well, she's going to, instead of any ice or anything like that, she's going to make a small leather rose
Where will it appear?
in his hand, and that is 3 successes.
Nice. The leather rose appears, and he looks down and he looks thoroughly impressed. And he says, "Well, thank you." He tucks it into his coat pocket and he keeps it close. And he says, "Thank you very much." And his
Well,
his
if
aura
we're
his
exchanging.
his aura shifts to astonishment, excitement.
Well, exchanging gifts goes both ways.
And in a very formal little gesture, he bows forward and kisses the top of your hand. And he says, "Then I bid you a good night, Dahlia. I will see you again. You have my information.
Indeed.
Good luck and good peace to you." And
And to you.
he steps back a bit and gives you a bow, and then proceeds to leave. And from there, we will have the scene fade to black as the camera exits from the library and pans over to a 7-Eleven not too far from the library. The camera zooms into a small alleyway in between a 7-Eleven and an old apartment complex building. And in the alleyway lies a dead body with a rather gnarly, shall we say, almost inhuman looking knife protruding from their chest. Thank you, players, for playing. Thank you, watchers, for watching. Until next time.